Hey everyone, it's Gamefruitpulp. Welcome back to another Minecraft Building Toronto video, our first in over 2 months. I actually had to look back and see how long it had been since I did my last video on the project, which is fitting because in today's video, we are going to be looking back, way back, to one of the first buildings we finished on our project. In the very first episode of the Minecraft Building Toronto project, we built the TD Spire Tower in the Brookfield Place complex. Now, over 8 years later, we're going to be returning to that complex to take a look at our newest completed build. I'm really excited about what I'm going to be showcasing in today's video because it's an interior that I've wanted on our project for a long time, but didn't have the skills to build myself, honestly. Luckily, I was able to convince one of the skilled builders on our team, Fox, to try and bring it to life. And I think that you will all agree with me in thinking that they did a great job in doing so. So without further delay, let's take a look at the Minecraft Building Toronto Hockey Hall of Fame. I have been a huge hockey fan my whole life, so this building is important to me because of the hockey history, and so for me it doesn't need an introduction. But for those of you watching who might not watch hockey or know much about hockey and the history of the sport, here's a quick explanation on the building from everyone's friend, Wikipedia. The Hockey Hall of Fame is a museum and Hall of Fame located in Toronto, Canada. Dedicated to the history of ice hockey, it holds exhibits about players, teams, the National Hockey League, records, memorabilia, and NHL trophies, including the Stanley Cup. Founded in Kingston, Ontario, the Hockey Hall of Fame was established in 1943 under the leadership of James T. Sutherland. The first class of honored members were inducted in 1945 before the Hall of Fame had a permanent location. It moved to Toronto in 1958 after the NHL withdrew its support for the International Hockey Hall of Fame in Kingston, Ontario due to funding issues. Its first permanent building opened at Exhibition Place in 1961. The hall was relocated in 1993 and is now in downtown Toronto inside Brookfield Place, where it sits today, and inside a historic Bank of Montreal building. The Hockey Hall of Fame has hosted International Ice Hockey Federation exhibits and the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame since 1998. Before getting into what is actually inside the building, since it has been almost 10 years or maybe longer since we last looked at this building on our map, I figured we could take a look at the exterior of the building where this museum sits before making our way inside. 30 Yonge Street was designated a historic property by the City of Toronto in 1973 within the Union Station Heritage District, and for good reason. I had a hard time finding information about the history of the building online, but thankfully, my favorite book about Toronto, Then and Now by Doug Taylor, had some great historical information about the building to give us some more context on what makes this place special. As a side note, if you're looking for your own copy of the book, I will put a link in the description, and I also actually noticed it was in the Indigo at the Eden Center a couple of weeks ago on sale, so if you want to check physical stores, you may find it in Indigo as well. I reference the book quite often when making these videos because it's great. It's full of great historical information about many of the buildings scattered around the city. The Bank of Montreal, which later became the Hockey Hall of Fame, was built between 1885 and 1886 and was designed by the architects Frank Darling and S.G. Curry. When this building was constructed, the country, and Toronto as a whole, were experiencing an economic boom, and BMO intended to capture this economic optimism with this impressive structure, or at least impressive at the time. I like this style of building personally, but it has all but disappeared in the architectural repertoire of modern builders. The building was designed with its original purpose as a bank at top of mind. The building featured large rectangular windows that filled the atrium with light, and it also worked well with the building's current usage as a museum. The building has a height of 14 meters and includes a glass dome on top of it, which is positioned above what was previously the banking hall. The building was the head office for BMO until 1949 when it moved to a larger space. The building was still used as one of BMO's marquee bank locations until the mid-1980s, and in 1993, the Hockey Hall of Fame took over. So there's some interesting history with the outside of the building, but the real star of this build on our map is what we find inside. Now, getting into the Hockey Hall of Fame itself is an interesting process as well. To enter the Hockey Hall of Fame, you have to navigate to the main entrance of the shopping concourse level of Brookfield Place, which is located in the basement. There's no public access through the front doors of the historic bank building at Yonge and Front Street, and I've personally seen quite a few people try and get into the building from this street side location. It's a kind of tricky place to find the entrance to. On our map, the area outside of the entrance still needs a ton of work. The path is very difficult to build because there isn't as much data on that area, but inside the Hockey Hall of Fame it is so well done that I didn't want to wait to showcase this to you any longer than we've already waited. This great build by SparkleFox captures the details of the hall better than I ever thought possible. The most difficult part of building the path is also a problem with the Hockey Hall of Fame because a majority of the building sits in the basement. Despite this, Fox was able to capture a majority of the details of the museum, including the different exhibits throughout the hall. Now, all of the difficulties of building a one-to-one interior are even more difficult on a build like this, because there are so many small details that need to be captured. Fox was able to capture all of these special exhibits that are featured in the Hockey Hall of Fame, so let's take a look at all the different parts. Now, the Hockey Hall of Fame includes a number of great exhibits, and also has interactive experiences that we have included on our version of this museum. The NHLPA Game Time is the Hockey Hall of Fame's hub for interactivity, where guests can challenge their hockey skills against life-size animated versions of today's greatest NHL goalies and shooters. This model rink exhibit features 2 state-of-the-art games and an overhanging scaled video scoreboard that presents live coverage of the in-house action. This area is incredibly built by SparkleFox, and it's easy to recognize when comparing it to the real-world version. I'm hopeful that in the future we'll be able to also have interactive activities in this portion of the map to try and capture the essence of what's there in the real world. The other interactive area within the Hockey Hall of Fame is the TSN/RDS broadcast zone, which is an area dedicated to providing an immersive, entertaining, and educational first-hand look at hockey broadcasting. Using state-of-the-art technology, guests can explore and experience the broadcast world from a variety of angles both on and off camera. This area on our map is a great place for you to go and take a screenshot of yourself pretending to be a Minecraft sportscaster. Looking now at the exhibits, this area was certainly a challenge for Fox to recreate because exhibits would obviously have small details which would require little blocks or items that don't always exist in the game. I admittedly had pretty low expectations for the exhibit sections of this build, and Fox blew those expectations out of the water. As we go through each of the exhibits one at a time, I'm going to share what the Hockey Hall of Fame says about them. Let's look first at the Upper Deck Collector's Corner. There's an incurable addiction tied to hockey. No one can explain exactly why it occurs or how widespread this addiction can be. The addiction, of course, is collecting hockey memorabilia, and the Hockey Hall of Fame pays tribute to the passion of collecting with an exhibit called Upper Deck Collector's Corner. From hockey cards to tabletop hockey games, this exhibit displays how hockey is intersected with popular culture and technology throughout the years. The Hyundai NHL Zone features 4 sections. NHL Legends shines a spotlight on the game's modern-day honored members, featured in the 10-part documentary series Legends of the Game: Greatness Calling 2000 to 2020, with displays highlighting the legendary careers of honored members inducted over the 20-year time frame. NHL Today showcases the stars and highlights of today's NHL from all 4 divisions to overseas games and includes reigning Stanley Cup champions case. NHL Retro presents franchise histories including the defunct franchises like the Kansas City Scouts, Brooklyn Americans, and California Golden Seals, to name a few. And lastly, NHL Milestones highlights many of the entries in the NHL record books, including the fastest hat-trick, Sittler's 10-point game, and Gretzky's all-time goal and point totals. Which is funny because this is directly from the website, the Hockey Hall of Fame website, but Gretzky is no longer the all-time goal leader in the NHL, it's Alexander Ovechkin, so they have to update the website a little bit. The Montreal Canadiens dressing room exhibit is a 2-scale replica of the renowned space within the Montreal Forum, which was home to 24 Stanley Cup champions, 2 by the Montreal Maroons and 22 by the Montreal Canadiens, between 1924 and its closing in 1996. Player stalls commemorating some of the greatest Habs, including Lafleur, Plante, Beliveau, Dryden, and Morenz, encircle the area. This faithful recreation allows guests to handle equipment from various eras and experience what was once considered the most inspirational room in hockey. Stanley Cup dynasties include reverent displays to rosters of 9 franchises which lorded over the NHL for extended periods of time, giving these clubs the singular honor of being considered dynasties, featuring the Ottawa Senators of the 1920s, the Toronto Maple Leafs of the 1940s and 60s, the Detroit Red Wings of the early 50s, the Montreal Canadiens of the late 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, the New York Islanders of the 1980s, and the Edmonton Oilers of the late 1980s. And I can't help but wonder, with how hockey's been going recently, if in the future we may see a dynasty of the Florida Panthers as well for this decade, but that remains to be seen. The new St. Louis Bar and Grill Arena Zone serves as a gateway to the NHLPA Game Time model rink and is comprised of the following highlights. Franchise Alley spotlights each NHL member team and their minor league affiliates. The Vintage Hockey Hub houses the largest jewel in the Hockey Hall of Fame collection. The first Zamboni ice resurfacer used in the NHL in 1954, as well as other artifacts from the famous Original Six arenas. Silverware exhibits over 25 historic non-NHL championship trophies, including the Allen, Calder, Clarkson, and Memorial Cups. The Changing Face of Hockey, which displays diversity in the game featuring hockey's groundbreakers and trailblazers. And lastly, several other themed exhibits celebrating additional innovations in levels of hockey. The next exhibit is the National Bank World of Hockey Zone, which is the largest dedicated exhibit area within the Hockey Hall of Fame, providing an unparalleled tribute to international hockey through an unrivaled collection of artifacts and media from all 74 IIHF member countries. The zone celebrates international hockey's greatest moments, tournaments, leagues, and players, including the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame Honor Roll and the interactive Global Game Flight Deck. This immersive multimedia experience provides a visual journey through the past and arenas around the world. The next display area is my favorite recreation of all of the exhibits onto our map by Fox. With 90 iconic goalie masks on display, the mask, presented by Mustang Pucks, is an unparalleled tribute to puck stoppers past and present, and offers a historical retrospective into the evolution of facial protection from safety to self-expression. The evolution of goalie mask display at the entrance of the exhibit demonstrates the major changes in the mask, and the exhibit also showcases an animated presentation that tells the story of over 150 goalies and the historic and artistic significance behind their distinctive masks, ranging from the inclusion of pop culture icons, athletes from alternative sports, and defunct teams. This is my favorite area on our map because of the use of the Minecraft player heads to capture the hockey masks. Now, for the remaining two exhibits, and what I would argue are the most important exhibits in the entire museum, we need to go up to the ground level of the building, which takes us to the interior of that historic bank facade that we discussed at the beginning of the video. The highlight of any visit to the Hockey Hall of Fame is the Esso Great Hall, the cathedral to the icons of hockey. Inside, double glass walls hold portraits and biographical sketches of each honored member. On the north wall, plaques listing the Elmer Ferguson Memorial Award and Foster Hewitt Memorial Award winners, selected by the Professional Hockey Writers and NHL Broadcasters Association respectively, are displayed. Originally built in 1885, this historic building also serves as the home to the greatest collection of silverware in the world of sports, featuring all major NHL trophies, including the most famous and coveted of them all, the Stanley Cup. Located within the Esso Great Hall, this specially refurbished bank vault houses the original Stanley Cup, donated by Lord Stanley of Preston. This trophy, considered hockey's greatest historic chalice, was first presented in 1893 and retired in 1962. Also exhibited within Lord Stanley's vault is an extensive collection of Stanley Cup championship rings, removed and retired Stanley Cup bands, a timeline of different shapes the cup has taken, and historic artifacts that tell the story of this one-of-a-kind treasure. Now, this was hard to showcase on our map, and obviously Fox did the best that he could, but if you're a hockey fan, I can't recommend this area of the museum enough. It provides such an interesting and unique dive into the history of the sport. And I don't think that a lot of people realize that bands of the Stanley Cup actually have to be removed to make sure this cup is a manageable size. As I showcase this build to you, I'm still somewhat shocked that we were able to bring this museum to life on our map. Fox helped bring one of my favorite places in the city to life on our Minecraft project, and they did such a great job of doing it. This may be one of my favorite places now on our map in general. If you have a Minecraft Java account, this would be one of the best places to check out for yourself when you hop on and visit the server. For those of you who don't know, our map is hosted on a public Java server at buildingto.ca. That's pretty much it for this video. I say this at the end of every video, but if you haven't seen the project before, I have a ton of prior content of our map on my channel, so be sure to check out the playlist that I have on the project. If you're a new viewer and you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button to catch future content on the channel. If you're a returning viewer and you enjoyed, first of all, thank you for continuing to support the project. And if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and maybe share the project with your friends so we can continue to grow our community. Over the next few weeks, there will be less content on the channel. Summer's been really busy for me, but I'll try to get out as much as I can to you all as soon as I can. Thanks for all your support of the project and specifically of my channel. I appreciate all the supportive comments and interaction that I've been getting from you all. It helps keep me, but also the entire Building Toronto team, motivated to keep working on our map. Thanks again for watching. My name is Gamefruitpulp, and I'll catch you all next time. Have a good one.